70, man. This life in tech. I'm Jason.
And as usual, I'm the better looking co-host, Dan.
I don't know, man. Look, I just went and got my haircut this morning. First haircut in North Carolina. I think they did a pretty good job.
I'm all dapper in my suit. Had some meetings downtown.
Got to make downtown. What, did you have to go to Michigan?
No, downtown South Bend is huge. The amount of they've got like 3 traffic lights down there.
Jesus, man. That's 2 more than I got here.
Oh, there's no dirt roads that I've found in South Bend.
Hey, you know what I found out, by the way? The dirt road is on my property. It's a public easement. So it's technically my road.
Oh, so you should name it Pittman Road.
Yeah, exactly. And you know that was the first thing out of my mouth because I'm getting ready to draw power out to my new office.
Right.
And I had to have the city coordinate with all the utilities to come out and spray the lines so I know where I can dig my trenches.
Right. And
I actually live on literally right on the border of 2 counties. So the majority of my acreage is in 1 county, but across, my acreage, you like that? But the road and several feet on the other side of that road is my land, but it's in the other county. So I had to actually have both counties come out and locate all the lines across the property.
So hopefully they don't have to go cross county line to get some of the stuff because then your prices go up.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, my residence is in the cheaper of the 2 counties. And that's where everything's located. I mean, there's nothing over there except for my road. No, I don't, I don't care about naming it. What I care about is putting a toll on it. I mean, let's be honest here. That's the first thing I thought of was, well, wait, that's my road. Yeah, it's a public easement, so I can't block it. But that doesn't mean I can't charge for access. And it doesn't mean I can't, do what I want on it.
And so the northern end of the territory of Carolina begins.
That's right. Well, I mean, you got to start with a road. Even Caesar knew that.
Yeah, that is true. Even Caesar.
Speaking of Caesar, man, what is going on in our federal government?
Dude, there's some interesting things here. I think one of the things that I think many people should really keep in mind is that when you put something out there on the internet, it does not go away. And just because you think you have privilege, I don't know what I mean. Peter Fonda must be going off the deep end. But dude, that cat, you can't go and say, no matter what, it does not matter to any person. But because I'll tell you right now, if someone did this with my kids, there would be a problem. But the dude said about the president's son, he encouraged the people to go kidnap him and put him in a cage with pedophiles. Dude, you're threatening the president of the United States. It does not matter. Okay. We've said it. I'm not a fan of Trump per se. I like the persona of Trump, like on his reality show, The Apprentice. I mean, I thought that was kind of funny. I think he is business savvy. He just plays with the rules that are in front of him. I was not a fan of President Obama. I am not looking to initiate harm on anyone. I will respond, but I'm not going to initiate. And I don't understand what is going on in this world where everyone is just like, hey, they don't believe in the way you believe, so go surround them and harass them in public restaurants. Go to their house and do these things. They're utilizing technology to dox people and then harass them. I pray that never happens to my friends, family, or loved ones, especially if I'm there, because I will stand my ground.
Well, here's what I kind of find interesting about the sociology of this, right? Is from what I can tell, this is a bunch of whiny bitches. Let's be honest.
Reach.
And they're bitching about a system that, okay, maybe I'll concede and agree that it's broken. But they're going about trying to point out the brokenness of the system outside of the mechanisms in the system that do exist to actually change it. So what I mean by that is it's actually fairly easy to get on social media and say that you want his son's name's Barron, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That you want Barron kidnapped and raped by pedophiles. I mean, that's actually easy to type, right? Particularly if you have a pathology like apparently that dude does. What's hard is to channel your disagreement and maybe even your venom into the system in a way where, look, if you don't like it, why don't you run for president? If you don't like it, why don't you run for Congress? You can. There's absolutely nothing that stops that. In fact, the system is built in a way that encourages it. Now, let's be honest. You're probably not going to win, but at least you're doing something within the system that's designed to balance it, rather than just going and either crowding around a restaurant because they said they didn't want to serve somebody, or harassing somebody that got served in a restaurant where you don't think they should be. Those things don't actually do anything other than continue to polarize and create these absolute positions of extremism, which is actually more than anything what I don't like are two things: extremists and pieces of shit. And I think most of these people fall into those two categories.
Yeah, and to be clear, extremists on either side. This is what I cannot get over at all. We had people want to blame the president. It didn't matter if it was President Trump, President Obama, President Bush. You know what hasn't changed for the majority since, well, really the Clinton administration? Congress. Go take a look at what again, and I still say this wholeheartedly. I don't agree with separating parents from their children. I don't agree with it. I would keep them together. They're also not here legally, so I'm sorry. You got to go back. There's certain ways to do you have to do the right thing the right way. You can't separate those two things. But Hillary Clinton said when she was running for president that, I'm sorry, just not everyone can come to this country. It's just true. You can't go back and now I will say, because we can all evolve as people and your opinions can change. I'm not believing these people's opinions are changing because they believe it. They're doing it for political motivation, not because it's right. I tweeted out after our last show, hey, maybe we should be the police of the world. You can't have it both ways. Let's go fix the root cause of the problem and get those countries to miss. Why don't we do something to help those countries get better and the people better?
Right. I agree.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the right solution, but what I do know is I think we can no longer afford as a nation to be a fence rider. Either we're going to be the, so to speak, police of the world, or we're not. Stop picking and choosing. We don't need oil. Get the hell out of the Middle East then. Or change the regime, whatever. I don't care. How about we go fix the places where the people that want to come to our country, why? What's the reason?
Right. Well, I mean, that's I think that is the crux of the argument for me is so when I think about us as a federation of states, and so-called being the cop of the planet, it's not that I want to go enforce law of any kind on any other sovereign nation or sovereign individual. But what I do want is for us as a federation of citizens to be beacons of truth and light for everybody. Because, if you look at history, Western government, forms of government, particularly in the UK and particularly in the US, work exceedingly well. I mean, it's not that it doesn't have problems, but they work quite well. And there's ways built into the system to revise it and upgrade it and fix it. I mean, we can amend the Constitution. It's been done before. I don't think it's easy, nor should it be. You can repeal amendments. Shouldn't be easy, but it can be done. And if you don't like who's representing you, then why don't you go represent you? And I think that's what these extremists, because it's what they are, they're professional victims, right? It's fake outrage. Snowflake is a dismissive term. And I don't think it's appropriate because it doesn't cut to the pathology that's manifesting in these people on both sides. It's not one side versus the other. I agree with 100% with that. That's my take on it, man. That's what I think we're capable of. And at one time we were. If you go back to the 50s and the 60s, man, we defined culture globally.
Oh yeah, sure. In a lot of ways we still do. I mean, Apple, Microsoft, Twitter, Facebook. I mean, Facebook again. I mean, most of these companies, funny enough, they tend to all start in the garage, but there's some truth to it, right?
And almost all of them start in California.
Well, that's unfortunate. But,
we'll overlook that part.
Yeah, that part. That part's garbage. But I mean, they had to start it somewhere. Why not be a garbage state like California?
That's true. Look, man, the research triangle here, like even around Raleigh, is quickly becoming a tech hub. We've seen this in Texas. In fact, I have a lot of friends that I worked with at the first startup I worked at in California that now are in Texas.
At least Amazon wasn't started in California.
Neither was Dell.
Thank goodness. Actually, Microsoft wasn't in California either. Was Apple really started in California? Or did they move it to Cupertino?
I thought they started it in California. I could be wrong, but I thought so. Up in the Bay Area.
I don't remember. I'm not sure it's entirely important, but
look, there's a lot of there was and continues to be a lot of advantage, particularly for companies of those size, to being in that area.
Sure.
But speaking of which, by the way, do you know, at least right now in Silicon Valley, an income of 115 grand is considered low? I mean, like in terms of like the poverty lines and stuff, that's considered low income.
It would have to be, because you have to make at least $400,000 a year in California for it to live above the poverty line.
Right. 115K, man. Imagine that. You're low income. But yeah. So, I'd much rather us focus on being good citizens, not only to each other, and I think that helps, but being good citizens to our government and our government treating us as citizens. And then I think over time, once that gets put in order, it'll just bubble out.
That's a good point, because one of the things I was thinking about, because I talk about this quite often, is you're building an organization. You can't start with the end game, because your end game changes all the time. So what are we going to do day by day, week by week, month by month, quarter by quarter, year by year, you got it, to improve the world? It's not, you're not going to go to, like, there's nothing we could do to change the world, so to speak, in the UK. They're already where they are. Same thing for the most part, whether we like it or we don't like it. Not going to happen with Russia. Probably not going to happen with China. Probably not going to happen with India. So where can we do it? Well, plenty of opportunity in Africa, plenty of opportunity in South America, Central America, that we could probably do a lot. There's probably some places in Asia I haven't thought about, but with countries that are already established, that's not where we're going to have the change. We're going to have the change in those that don't yet have established, because there's a lot of volatility in the government itself.
Yeah, right. So, well, I mean, certainly with a country of our geographic size and population size and the way it's polarized, I mean, just geographically it's polarized. It's on the two coasts. And on both coasts, it's more or less centralized in one place. Of course, it's going to be massively different. I don't know how people think. Again, I go back to, why do we even need a federal president? How does one person cogently represent 350 million people spread across this geography and culture?
Well, they're not supposed to.
Well, right. Exactly.
That's probably the biggest misconception people have. The president is to have action based on what Congress brings him or her, and that to me is the biggest failure as a nation. But not just that. Go down to the local. Let's go down the next step. Why are our states running as if they have unlimited funds? They do not. Why do we have states that are bankrupt? Why do we have municipalities that are going bankrupt? What are those people doing? We pay so much attention to the grand scheme that we forget what is happening locally? That affects more of my day-to-day life. Here in South Bend, I'm sitting there going, why would we go and change everything to be from one-way streets to two-way streets? Or maybe they did it the other way around. I don't remember, but I'm just sitting there going, why are you changing that? How about we just use some money to keep the roads actually operating? Because I can't tell you how many times I feel like I probably popped a couple of tires on my Lexus, and they're not cheap tires. So, I mean, actually, I did do this this was probably over a year ago on an exit. They didn't have anything. There was a difference in the pavement. So maybe only like this much, but I took the exit at 60 miles an hour. The speed limit on the exit was like 55, so I was going like 60. Popped all 4 tires. I didn't know there was a dip in the road. There was I didn't see anything. It was at night. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. Thank goodness, though, Lexus had my back because I could hit the SOS button, and I had people out there in an hour, and then they towed my car to the Lexus dealership, took me home, had my car in a couple of days. Done. I had that SOS button, technology.
Well, and that's the thing. So it comes back to technology for me. I mean, why do we even need a full-time federal government? Why is that a full-time job?
It was never meant to be.
No. And then it's duplicated at the state level because it's direct with the governor replacing the federal president. There's still a state Congress, right?
But I don't think the state Congress. So we actually know someone that her husband is in the Maryland State Congress. It's not full time for him.
That's right.
He can get some silly amount of money. That's not a lot. Like you could not live off of it to be a part of it. But they only have so many times per month that he has to go and do things.
That's right.
But it's not full time.
Well, and to me, that is the definition of a Congress, right? As a type of meeting context. And so what the hell, man? Let's start there. And we should be asking ourselves as citizens, is this what we need? And how does it best serve our interests as citizens, as individuals, sovereign individuals, and as a sovereign confederation of states?
Now that you're south of the Mason-Dixon line, you want to bring up the Confederacy. But this is what happens. You go from the Socialist Republic of California. Now you're in North Carolina, and you're wanting to bring back the Confederacy.
Well, man, when in Rome, I got to appeal to my constituents.
Oh, I don't even know what to say to that one.
But I mean,
this is why I support P.T. Barnum.
Yeah, really. Well, because ultimately, what it is it's a democratic republic that's driven through a capitalistic free market.
In order to combine and have one true Carolina.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah, look, man, somebody has to set it up.
Yeah,
I mean, so maybe it'll fail. I don't think so. I think it's a great idea, personally. Most people I tell about this don't think that, but I think they just haven't come around yet.
The people in North Carolina,
they don't. I don't think they realized at first that it started as a joke, because it did, and then I just figured, well, nobody's taking it as a joke, so I might as well get serious about it.
Did it?
Hey, man. You know how when you want to say something that's really fucked up, so you say it as a joke, so you can always say, "Well, I was just joking."
Yeah. Just like everyone believes you're going to be a chicken farmer. Now all of a sudden you're like, yeah, maybe I should get some chickens and eat the eggs.
Dude, I took so I got a backpack to put Lily in, so I can walk around through because she's too heavy now. It's way easier to put her in a backpack. And we've been going on hikes in the mornings. Man, I saw a. I
just want to make sure it's not like an enclosed thing. It's like you're just talking about. It's like more of like a seat that's on your back.
It's a purpose-built child carrier backpack. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So it has. It's basically like a car seat.
Flipping her up.
No, man. It's a child carrier. It's legitimate. Man, I saw a turkey, a gray fox, a couple skunks, man. Dude, and the spiders are out of control here. I didn't anticipate that. But a gray fox. Oh, well, I don't know here, man. In Ohio, we really didn't have black widows too much, but we did have brown recluse, which are, I think, a bit worse. That they're more aggressive.
Yeah. Yeah. In North Carolina, there's at least, they barely get up into Maryland, but they're still there. But they're, up and down that coast.
Mm-hmm. Well, so there's wildlife. There's deer too, man. I've found like 3 or 4 hunting deer stands in just the fields on the family land. But yeah, man, I think that's the ticket. Stop complaining. Actually do something about it and work within the system. This is something people have to understand, especially with a system this big that has this large and powerful of a status quo. You will never change it as an individual from the outside. It'll never happen. Ever. You have to get into it and work with it and play the game.
Yeah, sure. Well, there we go. Episode 70.
Episode 70, man.
Technology can bring us all together, and can't change the record. Start looking into, did someone really believe that they're changing their mind? Did they grow and mature into their opinion, or are they just doing it for political motives?
Well, to end with that, man, here's the key, especially with political debate. The question is never, why do you think this? Right? It's never, what changed your mind to this new position? They're just pre-rehearsed talking points.
Yeah. Stop blaming others. Do something about it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, everybody. Episode 70 midweek in the can. See you guys this weekend. Bye.
Bye.